Hello friends, now we see about container leasing. Before we get into the subject, we need to know about containers. Some of them are not know about the containers, even though that containers take some part in their life. How uh, today now we are purchasing a lot of items through online and shops, like electronical items, plastic items, but that all the items are not manufactured in a single place. It may be manufactured in lot of some other place and it is transported to that various locations. It's happened through the shipping of products. But when talk about the shipping, we cannot randomly take the products from the ships. So we need some box to carry the products. That steel box is called as a container. Okay, so it's these steel boxes are used to transport the goods from one location to another location. That's the containers. Okay, let's see about the containers. Thus I have some give some definition about the container. Shipping container is a container with strength suitable to withstand shipment, storage and handling. Shipping containers range from large reusable steel boxes used for intermodal shipments. Okay, this is this is one of the steel box. It have a capacity to carry the goods, and it can be a reusable steel boxes. And so this is a main. It's a concepts of containers. Okay? We need to transport the goods to different locations, so it must be withstand in oil shipping. Okay, then there is a in that screen you can see that container. So it's used for transporting the goods like dry goods, for example electronical items, plastical items. So these things can be carried in in these containers. So it is most of the people see those containers in the roadside and some harbors. So some other types of containers also available in there. So based on that goods transport, the types of containers will be vary. For example, if you want to transport that chemicals, milk products, or some other petroleum products, you cannot transport those goods in that dry containers. So we need some different types of containers based on the products we transport. So that types of containers, that milk products or electronical, mm, petroleum products, that liquid products are transported through the tank containers. So another one is a reefer containers. So the reefer containers are used to transport the goods. If you want to maintain the temperature inside of the container, you can use the reefer containers. There is an one refrigerator system is available in that container. It maintain the temperature inside of the container. For example, if you want to transport the fish, sheep products, and if you want to transport any fruits or vegetables, so you can use the reefer containers. So the containers may be transported on 1 month, 1 week or more than days. So you want to maintain the temperature inside the container, then only you can transport the good products. So we can use the reefer containers for that. Then another one is the open site containers. These containers are mainly used for easy loading and unloading. Okay, so if that were a single door in that one end of that container, it can be take some time to loading and unloading. So if that side open containers are easy to load and unload. Okay, another one is a open top container. If it is a container is an open top container, it can carry the goods. Its height is higher than the container height. So at the time we can use the open top container. Okay, so another is a flat rack containers. For example, if you want to carry the goods like machineries or some of the vehicles, they are width and height may be higher than the containers. So we need to transport the good using the flat rack containers, because the flat rack container not having the top and the side portions. And here you can see the double door containers. So double door containers have doors at two ends. So can this also for the easy loading and unloading. So another is so second one I forgot to give the title. This is a bulk container. This bulk container is used to transport that bulk goods like grains, wheats, that type of goods we can carry by this bulk containers. You can see the some opening door at the bottom of the container. It is used to easily unload the goods from the container. Okay, Then insulated containers. This is used to maintain the temperature inside, like a reefer container, but it does not contain any refrigerator system. It only have a insulation material outside of the box. Okay, for example, you can think like thermal flask. Thermal. What is the purpose of the thermal flask? We can maintain the heat of the water inside of the bottle. Likewise, these containers can be used. And the special purpose containers are used based on that company's requirement. If the company required the container like some different modifications, some customized specification, this containers called special purpose containers. And another is swap bodies. Swap bodies are can easily transport from trucks to some other location. Okay, so another one is half height containers. These half height containers are mainly used for loading a small amount of goods. For example, you just want to move some little amount of goods, but you don't need the 20 feet or big size containers. So at that time we can hire that half size container. The cost of the half size container may be very maybe less than that 20 feet container. Okay, so these are all the different types of container we see in this. Next, I give some samples of how these containers, the different usage of the containers. You can see that flat rack containers can handle that machinery with its height and with is higher than that container, and one of them is a half height containers. We can load that one above the others, so that space occupied by this half size container will be lesser than the 20 feet containers. Okay, then another is a bulk containers. We can unload that. In this image you can see that we can unload that goods easily from that bulk containers. Another one is a open site containers. Another one is a customized. This is a special purpose containers. This containers is made for some military purposes, so there is some more doors at that in this container. This is called the special purpose containers. These are all different usage of containers we see in this image. Next, apart from the types, the size of the containers also vary. For example, I give some common example, common sizes of containers. For example, 20 feet container, 40 feet container, 40 feet high cube containers. We see the, for example, I show that 10 feet containers. The 10 feet containers have a 10 feet length, 10 feet. This feet will be represented only the length of the container. For example, in this 20 feet container, it represents the length of the container. 40 feet container, it represents the length of the container. 40 feet length. Okay. Likewise, there's a 10 feet container is length 10 feet length. Okay, 10.5 here given. So this is a 10 feet container. So the height and width will be not vary for containers except the high cube containers. So the height is constant 8.6 and that width is 8.0. And this is a 20 feet containers. This 20 feet containers have a 20 feet length, but inside we are reducing some on feet for that doors and other things. So likewise, the height also the same for 10 feet container 8.6 and width 8 feet. This is a high cube containers, 40 feet high cube container. The length is 40 and the height is 9.6, the 1 feet higher than the previous containers. The standard containers have a 8.6 feet, but that high cube containers have a 9.6 feet. Okay, these high cube containers are made for some goods. We need to the height of the good may be somewhat higher than that 20 feet containers, 20 feet normal standard containers. So they use the high cube containers. Then 45 feet high cube containers, they same as height is for 9.6 and the length is 45. Okay, then we see about the technical specification of the containers. When we see about the technical specification of container, that lot of specifications like some some parts of the containers will be included. We see one by one. The door gasket. This door gasket is a 1 minute. This door gasket is used to airflow get inside of the container and get out from the containers. Okay, it gets completely sealed. So this casket is a very important part in that containers, and the prefix, these terms are this prefix are represent the container numbers. Okay, we will see it detail in coming slides. And the corner casting, this corner casting is used to uh, fix the containers in trucks. Okay, through screws that containers are fixed into that trucks, and or other than cranes use that corner post for holding the containers. And is a serial number, it is used to identify the containers. This will be seen detail in coming slides. That's like I said, check digit. Then another is a top side rail. It is an side rail of the container. It must be a straight and side panel. These side panels, you can see it every. The side panels are curved. Okay, up and downs. This is to make this side panel is like this is to carry the weight. For example, I show an example. These containers are hold one by one on the top of the containers. At the time of holding on top of the containers, it need to hold that weight of the containers on the top. So that bending section of the container can hold the weights, maximum weight. So that side panel is given as an in wrinkles. Then weight capacity rating is displayed, and maximum gross weight and tare weight of the container is displayed in the door panel. And this forklift is used to lift the container. In this example, this picture you can see the forklifting machine lift the container using these forklift poles. Okay, and bottom side rail. This bottom side rail is used to place the container in that rails. Then another is a corner posting. It gives a strength to containers, and it is used to fix the doors. And the door panel, this is a door panel. It is used to open. And com clamper, these things are used to lock that. These straight strings are used to lock the containers. These are all the handles. We can easily understand that. The CSV plate, consolidated data plate. Okay, this will be see detailedly in later slides. Locking bar and lock box, these are used to lock the containers. Classification society, this also we see in that later slide. This is the main structure of the container, and some of the parts I explained here. Then likewise, for example, in that reefer containers, some additional grill system is added inside that container because of airflow. We need the airflow inside of that reefer container. So there is some rail capping between that in the bottom of that container, so that airflow will be high in that inside of the container. So the product inside of the reefer container will be get in the good stage. And the tank containers have some different specifications, like discharge valve. It is used to discharge that product from the tank. And ventilation valve, it is used to give an ventilation inside of that tank. It's a tank frame. This outside one is in a frame. This is all the safety valves. Okay, if it's in case of emergency, it will be used. So these are all the things we can see in that tank containers. So now we see about the front panel. That is a door section of the container. In the door section of the container, we can see some information like here we can see this is a this BACU, that is a container number. Okay, then here is a max gross weight, is a maximum gross weight of the container. This is a maximum gross weight, means we can load up to this much kgs. Okay, the tare weight is without loading what is the weight of the container. Okay, then is a net weight is the tare weight plus maximum gross weight. Okay, sorry, So maximum gross weight is including of tare weight. So net weight is reducing of tare weight from the maximum gross weight. Okay, and this cubic capacity is what is the capacity of container in cubic terms. We will see some what the advantages of the cubic capacity. Why we need to mention here. Okay, and height warning. Okay, if it is an for example. High cube containers have this height warning systems because some person are handling the container through cranes. They if it is if they not know about the sure about that container height, they can place the container with they may face some difficulty while handling the container, so we need to give some warning for that handlers, and manufacturer logo and repair recommendations. So if it isn't any repair in that container, we give that some attention by repair recommendation system and owner's logo. Then classification society mark. This also we see in that later slides. So okay, now we are see about containers, how we give the container numbers. So first four terms, that container number contains four characters and six numerical values, six numbers and one check digit. Okay, this is the format of the container number. Okay, let me see some deep instruction about this. For example, I show it in the container. For example, if a container is main marketing in the door, okay, it is an alphanumeric sequence made up of 4 alphabets and 7 numbers. Container number identification system has been created by the International Standard Organization under the code. So this container number is created by the international standards. Okay, as per this code, container identification system consists of first three letters is a owner code. Okay, then equipment category is a one letter. For example, I show you here. These three letters UES is a owner code. Okay. Then product code is one letter. Okay. This U is a product code. The another one is a registration number. This 6 digit is a registration number and one check digit. These 6 are serial numbers and one check digit. The owner code is a unique to the owner. Okay, every owner have some unique code for the container, and registration of this code is in Bureau International. We need to register our companies, then only we get that unique code. This is to avoid any duplication of code by any shipping lines. Okay, if you don't know who particular containers belongs to, you can also do a big code search to identify the owner of the container. But be aware the owner of the container need not necessarily be operating the container. Okay, so because every owner not to access the container, sometimes they can owner give that container to leasing. That leasing person take the containers. Okay, so then check digit, although it is a part of full container number, check digit is a very important number, as it can be used to identify if the above mentioned identification sequence is valid or not. So based on that check digit, we can identify this container is valid or not valid. So this check digit number is automatically generated by the system. Okay, if you give the container number up to that the 4 characters and 6 numbers, that one digit is automatically generated by the system by based on some calculations. Okay, then ISO code. What is an ISO code? Why we need the ISO code? Okay, we just see here. As a part of international standard organization, under this code, each container is given unique ISO code in order to avoid any ambiguity in the name. So for example, the 20 feet containers. The 20 feet containers are called as a dry van containers, general purpose containers, standard containers, dry containers. In different countries, they call that dry containers in different names. Okay, so we need to give some common identification for those containers. As the international standards decided to give one ISO code. That ISO code is to identify that type and size of the container. So for example, Therefore, the standard, the ISO code of 2221G, this 22G1 is used to identify that this is a 20 feet general purpose container. Here, now you can see the ISO code format. If it is an 20 feet container, you need to represent as a 2. Okay. If it is in 40 feet, means you represent as a 4. Okay. Likewise, L and M for the 45 feet and 48 feet. And that height represent, if it is for 20 feet, 8 feet, 6 inches means 2. 9 feet, 6 inches. 9 feet, 6 inches means high cube containers. You represent as a 5. And for type general purpose refrigerator containers, you mentioned as a G1, R1, U1. Okay. So for 20 feet general purpose container, you mentioned as a 22 G1. Okay. This is a format of giving the ISO code for the containers. Now see about container owner or lessor. So who is the owner? Who purchased the container is called as a owners. So every owner not transport the containers. They give the container to leasing to some other person. Then some other person carry the goods to some locations. Okay. Likewise, the max gross is the maximum gross weight. Like I previously explained about it. It's a maximum gross weight hold by the container, including of tire weight. Okay. Then classification society, we just see about see here. There's some logo in this container. That is a classification society label for this type of container. So why we need this classification society label? Each container is tested for its strength, cargo and seaworthiness by classification society. And this label indicates that which classification society certified this bag. So if you want to transport the goods through the container, that container must be certified by this particular society. So if you want to identify which society gives the certification to this container, means you can check that logo of the society label of the container. Okay. By this logo we can identify that which society tested this container. Okay. Then weight of the container, likewise there's a container have some tire weight without loading. After loading, it container have some weights. Okay. So these are the weight of the container. And maximum payload, this is the maximum payload of weight of the cargo that can be packed in the container. So apart from that, if it's a container carry that weight more than that max payload, it considered as a overweight containers. Okay. So why we need the cubic capacity, need to mention in the container. This is the maximum value in cubic capacity that can be packed into the container, unlike weight. Okay. It is not like a weight. It is an represent the cubic capacity terms. It is not possible to overpack the container by volume, as it will quite evident. While misdeclaration of volume may not have any physical consequence. Misdeclaration of volume on a bill of lading would have some financial consequences for buyers or sellers. So especially if the cargo should be by value. Okay. So for that buyer and seller trust, we give the cubic capacity to the containers. Then we need to see about the CSC plates or data plate. Why we need the CSC plate? CSC plate means CSC is a container safety convention plate in order for it to be used in international trade. Okay, if you make the container for international trade, you must need the CSV plate. Why? Because of the safety conventions. The role of the CSV plate is to confirm that the container has been inspected and found to be in the condition suitable for transportation. So every 3 months, this container, every 30 months, the container must be in that inspection if the container is worth for transport, international transport. Okay, this CSV plate represent that in data to the customers. Then then containers have some other markings like the container number, rooftop, and inside of the container and front of the containers. So why we need this container number at top, inside, and front of the containers? Because when you using the crane lifting the containers, the crane operator must know about the what is the container number we are lifting. So we represent that container number at top of the room, and inside of the container means while unloading the container is that particular person need to know about what is the container number when inside of the container, because the doors are opened, so every time you can't go and see that container number. So the container number is also mentioned inside of the containers. So the otherwise the front of the container door also it available, because we know that inspection person and security person also we need to check that door only. So that container numbers are represented in different locations for um, different purposes. Then in how many forklifts that also mentioned. Then cushion stickers for 40 and 45 high cube containers indicates that is a high container, so you need to must careful to handle those containers. Okay, I give some sample images here. This is that first images that for a high cube container that caution plate is represented like this: 9 feet 6 inches. It is a high cube containers. Then in the top of the container equipment number is represented, and inside of the container is the container number is represented. Okay, then give some tables for cubic capacity, tare weight for different sizes of containers. Then the containers have been different colors and different lengths that also listed here. Then next part is an different sale grades of the container. There is a three different sale grades. One is for one trip container, cargo worthy, wind and watertight. The one trip container is basically a new container. It's only load one time and makes one trip. Once they arrive in the US, they are sold in the after market for storage and other applications. For example, most of the containers are manufactured in China. So from China, that goods are exported to US. So the lot of goods are exported from China to US, but not that much amount of goods is not come back from US to China. So that containers are hold empty in that depot itself. So that containers are holding the space. So that particular owner, if it is available to transport the goods, then only they transport the container. So the empty containers, if you transport the empty containers means there is a waste of amount for that particular persons. So they are trying to sell the containers that one trip new containers to some other purpose like storage and some other purposes for preparing some container housings. So that called as a one trip container. Another one is a cargo worthy containers. These cargo worthy containers have been around block of few times. They are range around 10 to 5 years old containers and will have few cosmetics issues but are cheaper opinion.